I'll cite the example again. How many times have you sat in a wedding meeting and you're presented with a budget and it has 150 different line items? All of them are inflated and ridiculously so. Talking about $1.5 million for the groom's troop to go to the salon. Fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? The groom and his squad of 5 guys can each go and spend $30K, get a fresh cut over there at the salon, and you'll be done. $150K, finished. Now you want to put $1.5 million on your budget for it? Why?
It's my wedding. It should be grand.
How pathetic would your face look? Oh, it's my wedding, and I want it to be grand.
You want to start with your promo?
Yeah,
Get your promo out of the way, bro.
Like, first of all, shout out Lucas Black for giving me this jacket. This is a Black Vibes jacket. You saw it at the beginning of the last episode. He's asking me to adjust it. Just go back the previous episode. You'll see the print.
That's crazy. He gave you one, bro.
No. I had to. This is the deal. I had to wear it backwards on the podcast. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
That's a dope jacket.
Yeah. I feel like we did a fair barter trade. Oh gosh. Can you see the vibes? Yeah, Black Vibes.
Black Vibes.
I don't know. Is it better if I work backwards or normally now that you've seen the back? Let me show you.
Black
actually
Vibes, I
drip.
might holler at you, man. I have some work for you.
It's a good one though.
That's dope.
I'm just waiting no more. With all my swag.
Bam.
I feel like this is the best promo I can do for him. I just look cool in a guy's drip. Yeah, so shout out Lucas Black. Element out right now, the song Element. So is the match. Go buy, go listen. Back to MJP.
Shout out Black Vibes. Nah, he's going to just wear it.
I'm going to drip it.
And sweat.
I'm on drip right now.
Of course. Of course.
Sweat is about to start dripping in a minute.
You want to introduce our guest?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So today we have
Mr.
Agaba Tumusiime with us in the building.
Claps.
I'll let him take it from there. Not full.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, I'm here to introduce myself?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you better check my resume. Y'all got to know.
Okay, Google.
I need no introduction.
Okay.
I need no introduction. Just check me out at Master Gabs if you want to know about me.
Fine. Bro, this weekend I was at not this weekend, like a day ago I was at the farm with some guy who I just met.
Yeah.
And he was trying to explain to me who he is. And he was telling me, bro, just go and check on Google. Just Google me. If you think that I'm playing with you, just Google me. Everything that I've said is true. So that's basically what you just said. Bro.
That's right.
Yeah.
True. Even some of the stuff that I might not want people to revisit, it's also
there.
on Google.
It's there.
So I like the fact that you have 2 surnames.
Yeah, man.
Because do you have a first name?
Agaba is my first name. Tumusiime is my family name. That's my surname. I grew up in the U.S. I was born and raised in the Washington, D.C. area. So my parents made the deliberate decision, and I'm the youngest of their kids. So, and the only one of their kids who have been born in the U.S. So when my parents were naming me, they made a deliberate choice not to give me a Christian name or an anglicized name because they wanted me to identify very clearly with my Ugandan roots.
Oh,
and
nice.
so that's what it is, man.
But that couldn't have been easy in school, bro.
No, it wasn't. A lot of people mispronounced my name, butchered my name. Agaba Tumusiime turned into Agaba Tuna Sandwich.
Tuna sandwich.
They called me Agaba, Agabi. To this day, I have a friend who I've known for like 15 years. The guy still mispronounces my name. I'm like,
That's crazy.
I'm about to smack the shit out
That's
of you if
crazy.
you don't learn how to
And for me, bro, if it's been 15 years, now you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
Now you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
We are boys.
But it's all good. It's all good.
No, fire.
Yeah,
I won't lie.
What does... Okay, now, like right now, Afrobeat is popping. You know, Black Panther 2 came out. So I guess like now being African is kind of... It might not yet be cool, but it's at least like acceptable now in society.
Mhm.
At least in America, I'd say.
Sure.
What is your this is like would be like my only question right now, like what is your experience with that? Has anything changed? Do you see any like change of perspective in terms of like how Africans used to walk around and get received back then and now? Has anything changed? Is all that just on social media?
Okay, I'll preface my answer by saying this. I've lived back in Uganda now for 12 years.
12.
I moved back to Uganda 12 years ago. April 3rd, 2011 is when I landed back in UG. So I have not resided in the United States in all of that time.
Fair enough.
And even in that period, I've only visited once for like 2 weeks.
Wow.
And that was like in 2013. So I am very much
Wrong number.
disconnected from a lot of the recent dynamics of what has been happening in the U.S. in terms of Afrobeats and the whole wave of all the African swag becoming something that the entire continent of North America, or the world for that matter, is embracing and wrapping their arms around. But I will say this. Growing up, there was definitely a stigma around being an African. Now, being an African with a name like mine, where they don't have the option to call me a nickname, right? They're not able to escape their responsibility to learn how to pronounce my name correctly. So a lot of the conversations that I had, particularly growing up in suburban white America with the friends that I had, was educating them about the Africa that they don't know. A lot of people made the mistake of thinking that Africa was a desolate wasteland where there's no enjoyment to be had whatsoever, because growing up as a kid in the 80s and into the 90s, all that you saw were those stories of feed the children and famine-stricken African babies with kwashoko, big bellies, flies all over their face, right? So that's what people in my peer group saw of Africa growing up in that era. And it wasn't until times when, you know, social media really started allowing people to see the Africa that they don't want you to see, right? The Africa that they don't know exists in the mainstream media. People really started understanding and appreciating that Africa was a place of reverence and respect. As I got older and I started my dating life, it was difficult to get women to appreciate the allure of an African man. But now, I mean, we kings out here.
I appreciate.
So,
Appreciate
you know, there's an appeal that I think is newfound, and it's fresh and it's exciting. And I think for those people over there who are tapping into that and making the most of it, whether it be monetizing it or just reaping the benefits of it, it's great for them. But on the flip side, there's also a whole new demographic, and I won't say brand new, but there's a rising instance of conversations, at least that I see happening online, of young African Americans and Africans out there in the diaspora who are a generation or two removed from their African roots, who want to come back here and rediscover and reinvest and understand. I mean, you guys have seen the clip that I was on the Repat podcast with Kenganda, right? That's their entire audience. It's people in the United States or in Europe, for that matter, who are thinking about Africa, and they're like, what can I appreciate about the opportunity to connect, do business with, relate to, even move and relocate my entire life. So I would say there's a huge growth in popularity and respect and reverence that people are having from Africa, right, or having for Africa right now. And
I want to get into a slightly controversial topic before we leave this one.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a certain reverence for Africans right now abroad, in terms of we're getting that kind of validation from others that we've been seeking for a long time. And to be fair, I don't think anything has changed as much. It's just people are now appreciating what has always been there.
True.
Would you say what are your views on, like, now, say, an African man or woman now at the top or on their way to the top, marrying out of their race or like dating out of their race? Is that something that you think about seriously? Is it something that you don't find an issue with? Is it something that you think we should be wary of? The reason I'd ask you is because you've actually spent a lot of time in America with people from all over the world, because that place is a melting pot of the whole world.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Because I feel like right now a lot of young men feel like now this is the chance to get that visa. That's the best chance.
So like is your question around whether guys should be living here to go over there?
Yes,
or
and
just
that,
specifically like should guys be marrying?
Should they be leaving for marriage? Should they be leaving? Okay, it's specifically around like dating, because I think someone should leave. If, for example, you are a neurosurgeon and there's no neurosurgeon thing here that you can work at, go and work where the neurosurgeons are.
But don't you go?
But I'm talking about like someone like now, like just dating. He's already a neurosurgeon, Okay, he's a surgeon. And now he wants to marry. I don't know, bro. Like, is there something about like? I don't know, bro. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I don't. That's what the question is more.
Okay, let me come back to your first question around my
yeah.
feelings around people who marry outside of their race. I don't have a problem with it, man. To your point, I grew up in a multicultural society. I went to schools with people of all nationalities who were dating each other, blacks and Hispanics and Asians and whites and Europeans and Arabs and Middle Easterners and you name it. I saw at least one interracial combination that featured every combination that you can think of. I've seen a dating scenario like that. In terms of marriage, it's up to the individual and what you want. I've seen my Ugandan brethren marrying whites in America, and in some instances it worked out. In other instances, the cultural differences led them not to last very long. And similarly, I have cousins of mine who I love very dearly. Probably a couple of them are watching this right now, who have left Uganda and gone to the United States and married white husbands. Some situations have lasted for a long time. Other situations failed. So, I mean, Jay-Z has a classic line, what you eat don't make me shit. And that's generally my philosophy in life when it comes to how much attention I pay to what somebody else has got going on in their lives. Okay, I might have philosophical differences with how you act or carry yourself in certain situations, but ultimately, I don't have the bandwidth or the interest to feel a way about what somebody else chooses to do with their life or their relationship.
Okay.
So if you decide that you've fallen in love and you want to marry this person of a different racial background, that's for you to enjoy. That's for you to love. It's not for me to judge.
I feel like I need to rephrase this.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to rephrase this. I have no problem with anyone else dating outside of their race. Like, do you? And what I'm asking for is more like of a personal take. For me personally, how I look at it, it's like, right now when they come up, these guys have had us down for so long. Why are they now eating us when you're like at the top? Like, that's what I'm like. Like,
Like you feel like, no, I win it.
yes, now you want that.
Like,
Yeah, but now
the guys who are playing winning.
what has changed? Has the poverty disappeared here? Like, what has changed, bro? Like, what has changed? Really, really, it's just because you know what I mean. Like, the sambo red. Anyway, I guess like at the same time, like, there are different reasons for doing these things. Like, sometimes it's for love, sometimes it's for, you know, like different reasons. But I have nothing wrong with anyone else doing it. I'm just asking for like, personally, the guy is here. What's your view? Yeah.
Oh, damn, it was for all of us.
On you. Yeah.
On mine, I feel like I'm kind of with
You as you.
Agaba.
You as you.
In a sense of like, I mean, like, especially for people who, it's so good that you asked this because for me, for people who live in multicultural societies, it makes perfect sense to me because, like, yes, we might have different cultural backgrounds, but we also share some similarities just based on the fact that we live in this type of society together, right? So it makes sense for me for guys in multicultural societies to date, I mean, outside of their race.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just always a bit like sus when a guy lives in a, I'm not going to say Uganda is monocultural, but for the most part, it's just mostly black people here. So when that guy goes and like finds the one white girl in like a bunch of black people, that's why I'm just kind of like, hey man, this guy must really be this guy's type, man. This guy must have. That's why like I have some questions, but like it's still no beef, man. Like you can do you. I have no problems with it. It's just it's a bit somehow for me, man. Yeah.
I mean, do I give a side eye to that 20-something-year-old young, virile, strapping?
Virile.
do I
Virile me.
So when I see this young man who looks like he just stepped off of one of those, posters off of a black romance novel, right?
With the J's.
You know what I'm saying? And when I see this brother holding hands with like a middle-aged white woman built like a sack of potatoes, yes. No, those guys catch the side eye from me. Very, very directly. And I make sure they see me side-eyeing them. I know what you're up to, my guy.
Yeah.
You're not fooling anybody in that particular case. But hey, like I said, to each their own. I don't see too many of those stories working out great in the long term. So, hey, if you want to roll the dice, give it a try.
Did you guys hear about Jeezy and his wife?
Yes.
Jeezy's you know Jeezy is a
Jeezy,
rapper.
the rapper.
Yeah. And he was married to this other like famous Asian lady, and now they just filed for divorce. I don't want to turn this into a gossip segment, but they just filed for divorce. And you know when stuff like that happens in the States, man, guys start pulling the records from back then.
Guys have receipts.
Yeah, and firstly, just a rapper like Jeezy, like super gangster rapper, marrying an Asian woman. Now I was already like, hey man, this is that was jarring on its own. But apparently, before they got married, she was married to some white guy, and there's a lot of like statements that she made that was so like sus, bro. Apparently, she said some stuff like, I like white meat for my main dish, and then dark meat for like the side.
Yeah.
Apparently, she said some stuff like she basically said that she just didn't really fuck with black people like that, man. And then she married this guy, and now they get divorced. And the reason for the divorce, according to sources close to the family, says that they had different family values or something along those lines, man. So I mean, you can't neglect the fact that like different cultures have different. There's different values sometimes, man, that just don't work out, I guess, for certain people, man.
Hey, I mean, it happens.
Bro.
Do you, man? Do you? I mean, I read that she tried to, make it cool for her mother to move in and her brother to move into the house, and I'm like,
that's a
immediately,
trick.
like
that's a trick, bro.
that kills the
Wait,
entire.
is that a thing? Is that a thing?
Yeah, in some
I think
communities it is.
like in the Asian culture.
Yeah.
cultures
Okay,
live
fair,
with
fair,
your-
fair.
like all generations live in the same house.
Everyone will live together.
Yeah, I won't lie. I'm not trying to have that, man.
No,
Yeah.
hell no,
No way.
hell no.
No way, man.
Can visit for a night one.
Overnight is crazy, bro.
Stay in the night as well.
There are situations where you can't avoid it.
That's true.
Mm.
Like after she just gave birth.
Yeah, like
her
those
mom
ones.
might
It's
move
allowed.
in. Or she might move in with her mom.
Yo, I have an aunt.
I'm straight.
I have an aunt who lives in Virginia, in the U.S., and she's married to a Caucasian gentleman. Super cool guy. Super cool guy. In fact, they've probably been married now for, I think they got married like in 2007, 8. So they've been married like for 15 years now or so. So, but my aunt's house is the headquarters for everybody in my extended family. She's my mom's younger sister. So when we visit as a family, we come like 6 to 8 deep. We don't just come one
one house.
individual. Like that guy's house, since he married my aunt, that house has never been free of relatives
Yes.
and visitors. And so my old man sat down with my auntie one day and was like, yo, listen here, this guy doesn't come from this. This guy doesn't come from this culture where you just be inviting all of your people to come over. Like one of these days, these random relatives of yours who just like popping by and staying for a week or two or a month at a time, like they're gonna chase this guy away, And thankfully, for all of us in our family, because he's such a beloved part of our family, my dad was incorrect in his assumption that he would cut and run.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was speaking real talk.
Of course.
You really have to understand, like, this person's differences from how my family arrangement is can really mess up my marriage if we don't agree and align before we start getting too deep into this thing. So I think Jeezy and Jeannie they didn't do their due diligence, man. He didn't find out enough, and she thought she could try it, but she learned the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saying it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of marriage,
Yeah.
I feel like we have to address this one immediately, man.
Yeah, man.
A couple of months now?
It's been months now.
Yeah, a couple of months ago you went viral for some very controversial statements that you made.
Yeah,
man.
not controversial to me, but I mean, a lot of people
Yeah.
felt away,
Hella controversial.
which is cool.
Hella controversial.
Africans are institutionalized beggars. If you can't afford to pay for your own wedding, don't get married. If you cannot pay for your own wedding in full 150%, don't get married. You're not ready to get married. You're not qualified as a man to say, I want to get married if you can't pay for your own wedding. For me, we refer to wedding meetings as institutionalized begging. So let me make sure that I correct the context of it all, because I don't know if you watched the full episode of the podcast. See, watching things and digesting a 60-second clip can be very dangerous. But I know how the game works, and I was like, oh, you guys get sharp, huh? So the whole context of the conversation was around there was a set of meetings in Europe that happened maybe like a week or so before we recorded that podcast, and African leaders were telling the Europeans, we're not beggars, right? They were assuring these Europeans to know that, you can try and, manage us and have relationships with us in a certain way, but don't treat us like beggars. Yeah, put some respect on us. And so in the context of that conversation, I was like, yes, begging is a real thing, and it's a part of the culture that exists not only in Uganda but across all African nations. And I was talking about how you can encounter begging in various forms throughout the course of your daily journey, from the time that you leave your house to the time that you come home. None of us is immune to being begged at one point or another during the course of your average day. It won't happen. If you're telling me it doesn't happen, you're lying.
But isn't that more like a human thing than an African thing? Where do you
Where do we live? Where do we live? Who are we?
Africans.
And who are we talking about?
But like are we the only institutionalized beggars?
I wasn't talking about Chinese as a Chinaman living in China. I was talking about Africans as an African living in Africa.
Bread price, don't they raise bread price in like, say, certain Southeast Asian countries?
So let's get to the topic of the wedding.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because here's what I want to make sure that all of you guys get clear about.
Before we get to the wedding thing, I want you to kind of spell that out. So let's say beginning of that day till end of the day. How many times do you feel like you're getting begged?
Cool. So, you leave home. Inevitably, you'll be at a traffic light somewhere. Who's going to run up on you at a traffic light? Some little malnourished child. A guy in a wheelchair, maybe. Right? Some lame individual, disabled individual, or a child, or an able-bodied human being is going to roll up on you, tap on your window, ask you for a dime. Right? Inevitably, at some point or another, you might encounter a traffic police officer that's pulling you over for some random, unexplainable reason, just waving their hand. Hey, pull over, guy. Right? At another point, you might just decide, let me pull over to the shop over here. Let me park. Right? When you come out and you get into your car, there's a random parking attendant who was watching your car without being asked to watch your car, who's now saying, oh, boss, please help me out. I've been watching your car for the last 8 minutes while you were in there buying a bottle of water. Right? Do I need to go any further?
No. But like, okay. Let me run it back.
Is
that begging, or is that just hustling?
It's not hustling,
It's
bro.
hustling. Because let me tell you.
When you're asking somebody for something that you have not earned, it's begging.
Okay, facts.
Be clear. Hustle connotes that there's hard work involved.
Okay.
And you're exchanging it for financial consideration.
But my point remains, like,
Where is it
here that's institutionalized?
Here's the issue that I have with people like what you're about to say. And this is why I'm allergic to average.
Okay.
And you niggas about to get me sneezing and coughing. You're about to give me an allergic reaction to whatever the fuck you're about to say right now. All these things, this is Africa. This is Uganda. Right? No, bro.
No, that's not what I was about to say.
No, bro. Let me tell you.
I was about to say, even in North America, there are beggars. Like on the side of the street with a note saying, "Please, I need money for this and that."
Yeah,
maybe he might not come and tap on your window on the traffic light. Maybe that's illegal. Like they call it soliciting. But he's there like begging. It's just that maybe the soliciting rules might not be implemented. I think if you're going to look at it like that, then the institutionalized beggars are in quote unquote. Let's call it India. Like I have people that have been there and they told me that they're literally communities of people that live on the roadside, and their whole life is to
that exists.
So my issue is like calling it institutionalized only here.
Yeah.
It should be
No.
It's everywhere.
Nowhere in my statement did I say
institutionalized.
It is an exclusive
institutionalization.
It is a descriptor that is exclusive.
Okay,
to
fair enough.
I was being asked about
fair enough.
Africans as an African living in Africa, talking about the situation on the ground here. So let's be clear.
I understand.
I'm not excluding the rest of the world from the same categorization. I was just being asked about what's happening here.
I'm sorry, from the 30-second clip, it seemed a bit exclusionatory in terms of like.
Yeah.
So
I think you legit said Ugandans are institutionalized.
Yes.
Or at least
That's
that's
how
what
like the
they
clip
cut.
started.
That's the power of a powerful edit, man. You guys are talking about this shit 3 months later. Shout out to Sitati, the editor who created that clip. You did a hell of a job, my guy.
But I think for sure, wherever there's poverty, there's
Yeah.
begging.
Yes,
That's across the
That's a
world.
fact.
That's across the
That's a
world.
fact.
That's for sure. Yeah.
And here. Okay, so let's get to the point that really inflamed the masses.
yeah,
Right?
Uganda. Should we rewatch the clip?
I think he remembers what he said.
No, I know exactly.
He remembers what he
I
said.
don't know. We might need a refresher.
They have sent him this clip.
Some of you are
I'll
like,
put it there because
I've been answering for this thing for the last 3 months, so it's all good. I'm not tripping.
let's see.
What was wrong about what I said?
Okay, to be fair, when I have all this context now, there's actually nothing wrong. You said you didn't say that it's specific. You just said wedding meetings. You call them institutionalized begging.
Yes.
That I think wedding meetings anywhere. To be fair, not in the way that they're begging, but like I agree with Hib's first point of you should at least be able to fund your own wedding, and if people want to contribute for extras, that's on them. But you should be able to fund your own wedding. So, but I don't know, man.
People were coming at me with all types of crappy comments.
That was some
talking about,
context, man. I can't even be pissed.
Don't bring that American shit over here. You don't know culture. Yo, I got married in the backyard of my father's home in Kashari. I got married in Uganda here at my family's traditional home. That's how traditional my wedding situation was. You know what I mean? It's not like I packed up my wife and took her to a church somewhere in a foreign country. I did the thing. And I included my family members, and we observed tradition to the best of what our values told us we should. But our values, and again, every time I've ever made a statement on a podcast or a show or any platform, whatever, I speak for myself. I speak as Agaba speaking for Agaba. I don't speak as a representative of Ugandan man, of African man. I don't even speak as an entire representation of my family, because I have a brother who probably has some substantially different viewpoints on a lot of things in life than what I do. I speak for myself and myself only. And yes, we look at it, when I was having that conversation with my old man, we look at it as institutionalized begging. Did we receive funds from well-wishers? Yes. Did we ask for it? No. There's a difference. So I saw your take when you're talking about, I disagree with the take because it's tradition and all that shit. We can observe tradition, right? I'm not throwing tradition out. What I'm saying is that be responsible. When you're asking people for their money to contribute to whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in life, like, be reasonable about it. I'll cite the example again. How many times have you sat in a wedding meeting, or you sat in a wedding meeting and you're presented with a budget and it has 150 different line items?
I want you to take one line.
All of them are inflated and ridiculously so. Talking about $1.5 million for the groom's troop to go to the saloon. What? Fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? The groom and his squad of five guys can each go and spend $30K, get a fresh cut over there at the salon, and you'll be done. $150K, finished. Now you want to put $1.5 million on your budget for it? Why? Do you need an 8-tier cake that costs 680,000 shillings? Come on, bro.
Okay, I guess that's now like where the
You want
culture
other
difference
people.
comes.
You want other people to finance the luxury of this occasion that you want to have in your life, unnecessarily. So.
No. It's more like it's my wedding. It should be grand. I'd be glad if you could contribute.
I'd be glad.
If you could contribute for my grand wedding, but like
That's us.
I want my wedding to be grand.
Your mobsters, listen. Yes, he's getting married.
How pathetic! How pathetic would your face look? Oh, it's my wedding, and I want it to
Bro,
be
man,
grand.
like I actually cut my hair here, but today I want to go to
Okay,
Sparkles.
this is the thing. I think when we addressed it, we shared some sentiments and we agreed that yes, the budgets can be very inflated. Yeah?
That's it.
Beyond what you can handle. That's the issue we had.
Yeah.
Like, with most people, like, bro, you're going through a wedding of 500 million and then go back to your home and just sit. That's the thing we had.
Yeah.
Yeah. My question would be, and this is in no way to attack your opinion, or
That's
to
okay.
side with any. I'm just asking,
Yeah.
is it wrong? I want to get your viewpoint. Is it wrong to beg? That's the best way I can put it.
To beg.
No.
Like,
Begging suggests that you have no other option.
Yes.
And in that particular case, it's not wrong. Right? If I'm a beggar, it means by virtue of my position, I'm doing it because I have no better option.
now, I definitely agree with you on that point. So that goes back to the fact that probably the budget is inflated and you're using your option of people and you're putting your budget on them. Does that make sense? That's what the issue
So it's
is.
not begging.
No,
Because you have
it's
an option
begging.
of people.
It's begging, but you're just abusing
Your option.
your option.
It's
of
not even
people.
begging at that point. I think at that point it's more like swindling or like can we
that's
say
the thing.
soliciting
That's the
or what? It's not even begging, man.
I feel like in
I feel like we're putting in like beggars are actually
take that.
they're blame free in all of this in what they're
Yeah.
doing. Like,
Yeah, like
for us
there are
to put
people
these
who
guys
can't
in
afford the function.
who are asking for 1.5 where they can go for the 30K.
I feel like in every case
crazy.
where there's an exchange of money involved, there's a guy whose purpose is to scam, bro. Those guys
This
are
time
always
it's the
there.
group.
Inflate
For
figures.
sure, there's guys who are scamming no
I can dig
matter
that.
what. Yeah,
I can
no matter
give
what.
it that.
But I just feel
Swindlers.
like,
Okay,
We'll call
fine.
it
Yeah.
like something like that. Like
course,
it's
I guess.
institutionalized swindling.
Wedding. So instead of institutionalized begging, it's just a graph.
Very
Swindling.
I guess that's
It's
scamming,
just-
It's just a scam.
Yeah.
Sweeps.
So there's that,
Sweeping.
there's definitely that.
Fine. Done.
It's
He
like
definitely used a better word than me.
There's definitely
yeah.
that. But I feel that
Institutionalized scamming.
firstly, I feel like in a lot of situations where the wedding budget is being inflated to the point that contributions are required, it's a stark opposite from the way your dad told you guys not to pay. I mean, that you should be paying for everything.
Yeah.
Guys' parents are ones who inflate the shit and be like, nah, you can't have Yoka wedding. All our people have to come for your wedding as well. And therefore, we need this much money. The wedding has to be this big. This many people have to be invited. Right? And in those types of cases, I feel like the wedding stops just being your wedding and now it becomes the family's wedding. And in that case, bro, you can't say, nah, I've jammed. Let me just do my wedding that I can afford. Because you want your family to be involved in some way. And so that's now where all the contributions and stuff come in. Because you can't afford to do it on your own. And your family don't want you to do it on your own. So they're going to ask the rest of the family for those contributions. And guys come for those wedding meetings on invite, bro. You have a choice of not coming for the wedding meeting.
I agree with you 100%.
But guys come because they know so on their wedding, they're going to invite guys. And guys have to come. It's one of those things, bro.
I feel like
And this is how it has gone.
This might be like more like a societal thing even, because the fact that you can't afford your wedding in, can I say, Western senses means you're not ready to get married. So in a Western perspective, and I'm not saying this is right, but guys, a lot of guys here are getting married before they are
They
ready.
can afford it, yeah.
So that might not even be on them. That might be like some other societal pressure. Maybe their parents want them to get married. Like they're telling them that, you're 24, you're 25, why don't you marry at 26?
But
You're
for them to say
27.
the family can afford it.
But let me throw a spanner in
So
the
there might
works.
be like all that. There might be something else.
Back
at
to
play.
his point.
Yeah.
A lot of weddings are really not for you, bro.
It's
For
not
the
for
family.
you, bro. It's
like
the
they will tell you
family.
have 150 people and 120 are family members. Invite 30 of your friends. That's where the issue is, bro.
You're right. And, so I referenced my brother got married. Like 15 years ago, my brother had his wedding. And so my brother and his fiance were living in the U.S. So the conversation was, do you want to get married in the U.S.?
yeah.
Simple wedding?
15 people, sign. Yeah.
Or do you want to come to UG and have your wedding here? The debate happened. Wedding had to come here. And of course, old man was like, okay, Jesus Christ. Now, this isn't your wedding. This is my wedding. And it became a whole story. Program, the budget, the guest list, 600 people, that whole vibe. It became that wedding where it's like, you don't even have friends here anyway. 90% of the visitors are mine. Right? So that was a conversation with my dad and my bro at the time. But for me, it was different because I had been living here. I was based here.
You had your people here.
I had my people here, found my wife, met her here, right? We had our people here. But also, the old man had the benefit of hindsight. Having seen the amount of resources that went into planning a wedding for 600 people before, it was like, why did we do that again? Why is it necessary?
Yeah, I don't even see those guys anymore.
You know what I mean?
Those guys are,
I was like, people
yeah.
who got married in COVID were bathing.
they did that.
So-
It was amazing, bro.
Yeah, so my wedding had like 300 people, and it was, let me tell you, the most entertaining situation of that whole planning process was navigating the hurt feelings of all of those family members who thought that they should be invited just off of principle alone. And I was like, shit. This is not my conversation to have, mom and dad. You go ahead and deal with that.
You know, you don't know these people.
You know what's so mad? You know what's so mad? The fact that like 300 people, that's a small wedding.
Yeah.
Over there, bro, 300
Bro.
people must be.
300 people is massive.
200 people is massive, even here. I won't lie to you, bro.
300 people is calm. That's
300
like
people here is massive.
didn't want to invite
That's
guys.
an average wedding.
200 people is
normal.
average, bro.
300
That's
people.
very
200
normal.
people is average, bro.
It sounds like a lot of people to me, bro. I can't even
Bro,
lie.
you know, Jameson and friends be they have a limit of 500 guys.
Now,
And
can you
they fit
imagine
in
all
that
those
space.
guys in one wedding, bro?
And they fit in that space, bro. You're going to get
crazy.
a tent that sits 500
Yeah.
people, bro. And it will be full.
For real.
I think my wedding have like 5 guys.
Bro,
Me
you're
has
you
like
guys
a
have
family
assumed for
then.
you.
To be a pod.
Like, dude, I swear, bro, like at this rate, man, like this doesn't appeal to me.
When it comes to fundraising for weddings and all of that stuff, do what you want. You know what I mean? Everybody is welcome to address it according to the principles that they have within their family. Some people have the resources to be able to do it in a way where they don't need to ask. Other people have friends and family who are generous enough to just offer. Then there's a whole other category of people who are like, I want this thing, and because it's my day,
You guys have to deal.
you have no choice but to make it happen for me.
I've seen people who push back the day of their wedding, bro.
Like,
Just
have
to
to
make-
reach the budget.
Yeah, just to make the budget work.
I wouldn't ordinarily be able to achieve this on my own, but because of tradition and because it's our family thing,
And I was
right?
at yours.
and I was at yours,
That's a real
guys, fall in and let's make it happen together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody has their varying opinions on it. It's just mine that if I wasn't able to contribute financially to my own wedding, I wasn't going to get married.
No, that's fair.
That's period.
That's fair. And I won't lie. The other thing is like those people you're talking about. I've come to yours. If you do not come to mine, we are not friends anymore. We are done. Like, bruh, I'm sorry. What if I'm not in the country?
No, but if,
Oh, what if I'm
I
going
am,
through my
but,
own
like, I just
struggles,
couldn't
bro?
make it, man.
What if I don't want?
Yeah, what if I didn't want?
But I'll tell you this, man. Yeah, I'm super good at dodging like
Weddings.
no those wedding meeting invites. Duck them,
Must
bro.
give us the formula.
You see them the
those.
day after. You're like, man, I saw your invite today. The meeting was yesterday.
The beauty is what they do is they'll like put everyone on a group.
Oh yeah.
That's easy peasy to dodge, bro.
I feel like there's a certain age group that I've grown out of where it's just a wedding every week. It's just a wedding every week. Right?
That's what we
I think
are.
that's what
That's where we
that's
are
what
now.
this guy
That's
is.
where you guys are now, right? You guys are in that age group, like,
Yeah.
you know, late 20s to like 35, where all of your friends are just getting married
Bro,
all
every
the time.
2 weeks.
I'm weddinged out. Let me tell you something. If I'm not in the bridal party, I don't find a reason to go to the wedding. Like, trust me. If I'm not a best man or a groomsman in that wedding, I don't need to go. I have no interest in going to a wedding. I'm weddinged out. I'm easy. Because what am I going to go and do at a wedding, right? A lot of guys go to weddings so that they can find single women who are kind of feeling like, oh my God, my friend has
Me
gotten
next.
married.
Is that a
Me
thing?
next.
Badly.
Let me find
That's
a
a
guy
thing.
here at the
Badly.
wedding. So you go hunting at a wedding. I'm already married. I'm good. Right? So I
That's a
don't-
thing.
Yo, it's a very legitimate thing.
Of course.
Bro,
I
that's
feel
at
like
weddings
that's a
we're
bit
just
like
dancing,
a-
bro.
Yes.
It's a bit wild.
That's
A
mad.
bit, can I say?
That's mad.
All of the
Taking
people who I like
advantage of?
enough to want to go to their weddings are already married.
Yeah, fair.
So it's like,
You think it's what? It's like
You think
opportunistic.
yeah, opportunistic in a way, bro.
Listen, I can't knock it, bro. I can't knock
You
it.
get them when they're tender. You know, when like the crab has just left the shell and it's still soft bodied, man. So at the wedding, it's soft. Like, even me, I could be next. Like, I promise you tomorrow, just
trust
come
me,
with me.
after you sat through like 3 hours of speeches and then the shots just start going in and you're turning up, it's a wrap.
The guy is looking for that person who grabs the bouquet.
Especially if you're one of those resort weddings where you're like
Staying there.
at the same venue where you're going to be sleeping overnight.
Dangerous.
Trust me.
exhausting, bro.
Nah,
And-
blunt.
and any guy who's not scoring points on those nights needs to turn in his player card because really, it's not
Then you sit the bench.
doesn't look
bro.
good for you.
I
to
just
that
be,
bench.
I just be going for weddings for the vibe, bro.
That's cool. Keep that spirit. Keep that spirit. That's good. That's a pure intention.
Okay, but it's like once a year, so I
That's
want
a
to
pure
do-
intention. Keep that spirit, man.
Me, I only go for weddings if I know the person marrying, and like I have to know them. Because me and weddings,
I don't know, man. There's
Sitting
some
down in
weddings
one
where they have
place.
like free liquor, bro.
for like, so what? No, am I like, why am I sitting down?
But one I don't
Yeah.
like is what is the church part, bro. That
Yeah.
part is long.
Bro,
It's so
let
easy
me
to
tell you,
forget how long it
I
is,
can
bro.
sit through church. Speeches.
Nah, switches I'll be drunk.
Bruh.
How many suits do you have to keep in your rotation to make sure you're fresh for all the weddings you go to?
He says
One black suit, just change the inside shirt.
They will never know.
And the shoes, they'll never
They'll
never do.
I have
a different pocket square.
I have a couple of cousins of mine who stay at weddings like, bro, these niggas are fresh, man. These guys make me look at myself like, damn, bro, like you lost it. These guys, their tailor is
Active, bro.
Walking, bro.
their tailor is active. You know? Every time it's a fresh fit, I'm like, golly.
Nah,
Bruh.
but that definitely explains your point of view, bro. Those
Yeah.
60 seconds put you on the guillotine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
like,
Yeah, bro.
Bruh, I want to talk about this Navio concert that you mentioned earlier, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I had a Mr. Agaba moved from the States to UG. So one thing I want to know, like, how hard is it? Like, how long does it take for someone to plan to take up that move? Because it's even very hard for a person to just move from their parents' crib to become independent. But for a person to move from a place you've grown up, the people around that place are the only people you know, and then to move from there to another completely different place. How hard is it?
Well, I had the advantage of prior experience before moving to UG in 2011. So what I mean by that is my parents left the US in 2003, permanently relocated to Uganda. And a year after that, I finished my undergraduate degree, and my old man asked me if I would be willing to come here to Kampala, spend a couple of years helping my mom grow a business that she was just getting ready to start. Because I didn't really have too many career prospects when I was going to be finishing my undergraduate degree. So I was like, yeah, sure. Let me come over, spend a couple of years. Then I'll go back to the US, study for my master's, and then properly become a professional. So that's how it happened. I moved here summer of 2004, worked hard, established a business with my mom. We opened up a restaurant in Crested Towers called Baldwin's Cafe. And we had an amazing experience through that year and a half that we were running that business. And when I went back to the US, it was specifically to go study for my master's and then figure out the rest of my career trajectory from there. Along the way of working in corporate America, I got tired of thinking in the back of my mind, if I was in Uganda, you know what I'd be doing right now? If I was in UG, you know what I'd be doing right now? So instead
Like
of
right
just
now in terms of business, or right now like at this point in the day?
so when I was frustrated with the job that I was doing,
Yeah.
I would think about the ambition that I had for the life that I could create for myself
Okay.
outside of the rat race of corporate America. And I was thinking, if I went to Uganda with the skills and the knowledge and the credentials that I have right now today, and this was me like in 2010 saying this to myself. If I went back to Uganda right now, instead of struggling into this corporate rat race and just working hard to pay bills and pay car note and do this and that and the other thing, instead of going through all of this, what could I possibly be doing for myself if I just decided to pack up my stuff, go back to UG, and put a plan in action? So I got tired of thinking that to myself, and I said, you know what? Let me just do it. I was unmarried. I didn't have any kids, and I was free to just pack up my life and go. So that's what I did. I literally bought a one-way plane ticket, came to Uganda, and I said, I'm going to give myself a couple of years to figure it out. If it doesn't work out, I'm an American citizen. I have an MBA. I can always come back and insert myself back into
The rat race.
the rat race of corporate America. But let me try. That was 12 years ago.
Would you?
And I haven't looked back since.
That was my next question. Like,
Alright.
how is it going? How would you Would you recommend someone to do that as well? Would you? Okay, if someone were in a similar situation to you, yes. Okay, I don't know if it's a yes, but like, would you recommend anyone to do that?
So the
Follow in your
situation,
footsteps?
the situation that I was entering was this. Okay, I had a stable environment to come back to because my parents lived here. So I kind of had a soft landing, so to speak, right? I didn't come here and had to figure out where am I going to stay, where am I going to eat from, how am I going to sustain my everyday shelter and, safety of just my personal existence. That one was kind of already taken care of because I came back and I spent the first month of my time here living in my parents' home. Yeah. But after that first month, I was out. And the whole idea of it was I came back determined that I wasn't going to be one of these, guys who continues to perpetuate the story of my parents are connected. They called a friend who got me a job or who hooked me up with this, that, or the third thing. Like, that's what I was determined not to do. So when I came back here, I was getting my fingers burnt a lot, trying this, trying that, networking, building relationships. That first year that I was here was fucking miserable, bro. I won't even lie to you. I hated it. And I was questioning all the time whether or not I made the right choice because aside from my immediate family who were my parents, there was nobody here who had any loyalty to me. So when I was coming through with a whole bunch of enthusiasm, introducing myself, trying to create value and trying to present myself as somebody who was a resource to people, people are like, okay, Mr. Resource.
Be resourceful.
Be resourceful. But I hadn't yet navigated how to convert being a resource to people to extracting value for myself yet. So I spent the first couple of years here just figuring that out. Understanding who to trust, who not to trust, how to present myself in a way where I could command people's respect and not just see them, or rather not just allow them to see me as somebody who they could seek benefit from or take advantage of. So it was difficult as hell, man. And a lot of the time I wanted to give up and pack my shit and go back, but I was determined not to. I'm built to something different, And I have been through a lot of struggle in my previous life in the US that makes whatever challenges that I faced here seem very small in comparison. So there's nothing about the life that I've lived here that was ever going to make me give up and surrender. I just knew that I was going to succeed no matter what. And, I'm still working toward this grand ambition because I have a billionaire's ambition, So I'm still on my way there, but I am confidently able to say that I've made the strides and I've made the forward progress that I think at this age and stage in my life, I should have. And I'm looking forward to just even more growth right now.
I guess your advice would be more useful for, I'd say, yes, someone in the diaspora, wherever they are, but a Ugandan in the diaspora who has like family here. Maybe not necessarily has come back, but is thinking about it. What is one thing you tell them like you wish you knew in your first year? Like, what's like one thing?
Save before you come. Save before you come, because turning on the tap of an income stream is not simple. However smart you may think that you have been able to make yourself, however educated you may feel, or however established you may be in your career, wherever it is that you're coming from, this is an entirely different animal. It's entirely different. Technology may be different and there may be systems that are advanced over there, but the competitive battleground that you're entering here, there's different rules of engagement. And you cannot be so naive to think that because things operate maybe faster or things are operating in a way that one may consider more advanced in certain regions, because you have been exposed to that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to crack the code here.
I have an advantage.
And have an advantage. there's not really any advantage whatsoever. So when I say save, is because you're going to come here and you're going to find that you may need to invest in creating an opportunity, or you may go a while without actually generating an income. Therefore, you need to live off of those savings. So don't just come here with a backpack full of clothes and a mind full of hopes and dreams and think that it's all going to work out, because
This is not LA.
this ain't it. This ain't it. So prepare yourself. Be very calculated in your approach, I would say. That's the biggest advice I could give
That's
somebody.
really good advice.
That's really good. I'd actually give that advice to anyone in any place in life where you are like,
Yeah.
that's save your money.
Don't
bruh.
sleep. Do not overestimate. Do not overestimate your ability to be smarter or savvier than anybody here. Because there's always somebody smarter and more savvy
Then you.
waiting
For
to
you.
treat you like food. Fact.
True.
Nah, what you just said was so profound, and now we have to go into something ignorant, man. I feel bad for transitioning us into. Anyway, man. No, I'm really interested in hearing about this Navio concert that you went for on. When was that? Was that last week? The Navio concert.
It was the beginning of September.
Yeah.
Early September. I think September 2nd to be exact.
Okay.
Yeah, so a few weeks back.
And it was what, 25 years of Navio or something?
20 years of
20
Navio.
Hard.
20 years of Navio.
Hard
First of
Navio.
all, man, shout out to the homie Navio, man.
For
That's
sure, man.
that's a good friend. For the longest time, man, I've been a fan of his, a supporter of his. And we got to the show a little bit late because I didn't anticipate that he would be performing on stage with
Ali.
a variety of acts from the beginning to end. But that's what happened.
What it was.
So we arrived at that show with a couple of hours left, but he had already been on stage for a while.
Man.
And he was performing his face off with pretty much every major artist that exists in Uganda right now that he's done a song with. They made an appearance on that stage.
Which is almost all of them, I feel.
all of them, right?
It's a
So
wide palette.
Yeah.
it was an enthusiastic audience, man. The audience was lit. The crowd reaction was amazing. The selection of music that he put together, it was not just the standard songs that you would expect from him, because I mean, when you've done music for 20 years, you can't cover everything. There's probably a list of like those 10, 15 songs that people would want to hear, guaranteed here. But even the way that he remixed them, and even the way that he played with the arrangement and all of that stuff, it was awesome. It was dope. I'll say this. Hip hop in Uganda can't just have one global ambassador. Navio is Uganda hip hop's global ambassador. It disappoints me that up till now, there's not another, and I won't say substantially talented, because there are plenty of people, men and women, who have produced hip hop out of Uganda who are talented on that level. But either their business is not right, or their ambition it just falls short, where they're just happy and comfortable congratulating each other from here within the confines of Kampala City. They don't want to put themselves on the stage to compete globally. And when I see what Navio has done over the last 20 years, I'm like, bro, like, can you give us another 20? I don't know. Where's the future of Ugandan hip hop? It's lacking.
What I think of that is, I think, yes, hip hop in Africa is thriving. Okay, thriving is a strong word. It's there and it's strong in Africa. But I'll say like Navio was literally like, can I say the perfect timing, perfect guy? Like he was a good rapper in Uganda at a time where rap was literally the top genre. Right now it's shifting away. I think what Ugandan audience wants from an up-and-coming Ugandan artist is not even necessarily an Afrobeat sound. It's maybe like a sound that's uniquely Ugandan, whatever that means. Like, that's what they're looking for. They want someone to represent them on a global stage, not under hip-hop or under Afrobeat or under Amapiano, but under some Ugandan-sounding thing. That's what I honestly believe. Like, I think that will be the next day to represent us on a global stage. Someone who cracks that sound, and like the people kind of get behind him and are like, this is our thing also. Like, let's compare this with Amapiano and effort. That's what I think we're thirsty for right now. I think actually every African country other than Nigeria is thirsty for that thing, but I think that's what we're thirsty for as well here.
That's actually a point that I disagree with. Is it Ugandan hip hop artists should be making hip hop music for Ugandans, or should they be making music for the world? I feel like the African artists who have broken out across the world are people who are making music that is palatable and can be enjoyed by people across the world.
But when they do that, it doesn't sound so much like hip hop no more. Because I'll give you an example. Black Bones is the guy who's loaded as like he was even in Rolling Stones next over 100 influential rappers right now, something like that. One of those lists, one of those lists. But when you hear his music, his earlier music sounded very hip hop like, but no one knew Black Bones then. When Black Bones started making Afrobeat sounding hip hop, where it's
rapping.
It's melodic.
He's rapping over Afrobeats.
Yeah. Now Black Bones is Black Bones and he's pushing the culture and is one of the top. Like, it's only when he broke the rap back home, because he signed under Chocolate City. Chocolate City is, I think, MI. That's like the top rapper in this continent, one of them. MI. They all signed to Chocolate City as MI.
Ice Princes and
Ice Prince. They all signed under Chocolate City, and so is Black Bones. But I'd say Black Bones has gone further than all these guys because of his ability to bring it back home. Like, and home for him is Lagos, Nigeria. So I think a Ugandan rapper, hip hop, because the beauty of hip hop is it's just literally how well you can flow your words to a particular beat. If you can do like that's like the origins, like a DJ playing, an MC doing his thing, then the MCs became popular. We need like that same kind of, can I say, dynamic, like someone doing a Ugandan flow like verbally over a Ugandan sounding beat verbally, whatever that sounds like organically.
So what's lacking? Because I've heard people with the flow. The flow is there. You have Luga flow, Chiga flow, every flow. Every culture has its flow.
Chiga flow is a mad one, though. I want to get
Chiga flow, eh? Dark Scuttle is coming.
Yeah, so I would say the flow is there.
Pause,
is it the production that's lacking? I don't know.
I think it's okay. No, I don't know exactly what is wrong. Now that one I don't know.
I'll say this.
But I know what I'm waiting for.
I see what you say. I think your point is particular to hip hop, right?
Yeah. Yes.
As it has not been one of the most appreciated genres in this country in a long time. Yeah. So with that in mind, I definitely agree with what you're saying. But then I also know there are some genres that are more appreciated, and I won't even know if it's hype or something. For example, like Alien Skin. What's that genre, you guy?
Isn't he a rapper?
That's like rap, bro. But also, again, back to his point,
Alien Skin is not
you
a
can
rapper.
say he has blown up in a way, but mostly also to Ugandans in the diaspora.
Yeah, actually, I say that's a
globally.
global ambassador right now, probably.
Yeah, like he has blown up to Ugandans there, not like everyone in the world is going to be like, what's this music? Yeah. So again, back to his point. That's where I will agree. I'll say this: you definitely have a point about the business, because if you were talking about Black Bones, in as much as his music is good, he still has Chocolate City, which is it's a very well-known label. So maybe label. I think the business has a part to play in a way. It's just one of those things where, like, back to my point, hip hop has just not been appreciated in such a long time in Uganda, particularly.
Only I think that if a Ugandan country artist came up, he might do better, bro. Like some guy
you might be right.
It might be just like a, you know what I mean, like a culture mismatch.
But I guess that's what makes that 20 Years of Navio concert so special, because much as hip hop hasn't been appreciated in UG that way for the longest time, that night with that crowd,
You guys appreciated this.
they showed the guy love, and he put on a show that demonstrated, I've been at this for a proper 20 decades of perfecting my craft, and I'm going to give you guys something tonight that you won't forget. And it was dope. I liked it a lot.
But if there's anyone who mastered that confusion of whatever a Ugandan sound might be with hip hop, it was him, bro. A bunch of like traditional Uganda songs blended into hip hop almost perfectly, man.
There's that song with Golola. Do you remember it?
Which one?
Tempering a hot temper.
Yeah, I remember,
Bro, that was
I
also a
remember.
fusion I did not understand.
I
But
think it was hard.
there.
That thing was hard,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Nah, for real, for real. For
That
real.
is not chap.
Yeah.
But I think in Uganda or anywhere else, I think talent plays a very, very small part to someone's
Success.
success.
Mhm.
Because I think people in Uganda, the rappers and other people who are doing stuff like that, they need to be signed to record labels which are good. They need to be having marketing teams, and they need to be having let's say managers. But I've noticed that in Uganda, most of the artists, they are greedy. Like they may be under a manager, and when they see that they are kind of popping, they decide to get rid of the
Release
manager
that,
so that they can, and 100%. And that's a very, very bad thing. Like if you're trying to push your music worldwide, you need a team. You need people you can give money to help you push your music there. You need a label, to be honest. Labels are very, very good. And then I've also noticed that these people, those who have been humble enough to be signed to be signed under a label, they've signed to the wrong label. You get?
Yeah.
And when I get back to this part of this hip hop not popping in Uganda, is because in Uganda people are used to a certain type of music. I can say chidandali. And if someone is trying to be singing that hip hop jazz, people are not really fucking so well with it.
Yeah,
And when
but
he
then-
sees that it's not really popping, he may be like, nah, let me drop this. Let
But
me
the
go to
Chidandali
Chidandali.
rappers.
Yeah.
The local
Flow, man.
Chidandali,
Luga
which can
flow.
only be listened to.
There's
What do
Luga
they
flow. It's
consider?
not chill Chidandali. There's Luga flow.
What do they
That's a
consider like
genre of
Gravity
its own.
or Mutuju? And
Luga
those guys?
flow.
And
Bro,
those
You will
Chidandali
only
rappers.
get Ugandans in the diaspora to listen to that, but you won't get black people anywhere else or whites listening to
I don't
your
agree.
music like
I don't
Ghana
agree.
does.
The fact that we can listen to Shay vibes here, and we don't know what he's talking about, or Charlie Pop, means that those guys can listen to Alien Skin. It's just that maybe the marketing is not the same. Maybe it's but the talent, we also have talent here. It's not a lack of talent. There's talent here. Maybe it's something else around the talent that those guys have cracked that is now taking them to that level. But there's talent here. We have good music here that can play everywhere in the world. It's good music.
Those guys.
Let's not get it twisted. Ugandans celebrate certain artists that if they went to other places, they would be like karaoke singers. Let's not let's not get that confused.
This guy are not talented. This guy are karaoke singers.
Okay, depends on which Ugandans we are celebrating.
Some of
as Ugandans.
Uganda's most celebrated, let's call them singers, vocalists, people who sing songs for a living. Sing. Yeah. They would be glorified karaoke acts.
Let me
Okay,
check.
I don't know.
60-second clip is going to slap.
This one here. That's the clip there.
When you putting a picture as singer.
Let me be honest. Most singer. Karaoke glorified.
No.
I'm
But
playing.
to be fair, I see your point. I see it.
Nah,
It's just
I don't-
some
I-
pushback.
I think without the proper marketing, yes, that's what they are relegated to. But no, these guys have good music, man. Relax.
Yeah, but him is talking about the singing.
he's talking about
the actual voice itself, like the talent voice?
not the music. The music can be good.
Come on.
He said some.
Okay.
Okay, Sam.
Okay, but isn't there like a...
But
isn't
not
there-
most or even many, man.
I'm not saying all.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying your favorite.
No. I'm not
just
I'm not
saying
talking about
some.
my favorite.
But me, I have a favorite who can't sing. But, but listen,
I also have a number.
listen, the thing is, do you guys ever listen to like those old Congolese songs or some of those old West African songs? The way in which those people are singing might not be conventionally considered good singing.
Right.
But that is the way that you're supposed to sing that kind of song. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think that for Ugandan singers, especially the women here, when you hear them, that's what the producer for him, that's what he's listening for. He's like, aha,
Okay,
so the way you sang that thing, that's the way I want you to sing it. Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to sound,
That's
that
fair.
type of song.
Bro, I won't even lie. I feel like it also depends on also as if the message. Because bro, I wonder back in the day, all these vocalists were talking about, those songs were about problems.
Yeah.
Guys today just sing what they want, bro.
Yeah.
Those songs about problems, like I have a problem with my man.
like
And you
Ali
sing
Wamala
for
is-
4 minutes.
Yeah.
And to be fair, if I'm being keeping it all the one-handed, like majority of pop songs in the world are karaoke level songs.
Yes.
To break out of karaoke level, you're now in like opera or you're in a choir.
Opera is a
or
bad example, though.
you know what I mean? But like most pop artists would be on a karaoke, like they turn up a karaoke bar, like and with skill level. Except of when you're talking about the Celine Dion's, of course, that one can turn up any opera
Yeah,
house.
for sure.
That one can turn up any. Of course, there's Adele. That one can, of course.
Yeah.
But when you bring in all these other guys, about Sexy Red,
That thing is,
about Meg the Stallion.
there's a genre. I feel like we just don't have a proper name for it yet. But the genre of singing here, it's not R&B.
It's different. It's
It's
different.
not.
Right.
It's something.
And also
It's
going back
something
to
that
Wendy's
they be
point, I don't know about good
You're right,
record
though.
labels.
Yeah.
You're 100%
Yeah.
right. It's not R&B. It's not
No.
soul. It's a different genre. of
Rhythm.
music.
Because the R&B, we know the R&B chicks. The R&B chicks were there. Like, what's her name? Like Juliana would sing. She's not dancing while she's singing.
Yes.
She's not doing anything else. She's just singing.
Bagger
Nava,
can
she's
sing,
just
man.
singing. But those are now R&B artists. But these other chicks, bro, they're doing something else.
What's Ugandan R&B? Like, give me the latest R&B song we produced. bro. What's the latest R&B Ugandan song?
Oh, this Elijah Chitaka guy, I think, does R&B.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Even Mike
Josh
Mungu.
does R&B.
But see,
a bit.
again, global scale is what he's talking
That's
about.
the thing.
What's the
Yeah.
latest R&B global
Yes.
thing?
Is
A guy,
that
like
Josh's song
a guy like Joshua Baraka will get world famous
Yeah.
because he's making music that the world can appreciate.
But did
You don't
hear-
have to be of this culture to appreciate
Did
it.
you hear his new song with a Ugandan chick who is not necessarily here?
No,
You haven't heard that yet?
no.
When you hear that, you'll know what I mean. Yeah, let's.
I'll check it out. I'll check
Yeah,
it
you
out.
know what I mean. When you hear
Also,
that.
when do you mention something about record labels, bro? Labels.
Yeah.
It's not sign and everything will work out, bro.
Yeah,
Never has been.
Yeah.
The music business is nasty, man.
It's so bad.
The music business is predatory. It's built on the foundation of people with money taking advantage of hungry artists who just want a chance. You
And
know,
the same cuts across every culture. It's not just Uganda, not just Nigeria.
everywhere. So if you don't know the business, and that's another reason why I give Navio props for having the longevity that he has, because he's been about his business. And you can tell those artists here in UG who are about their business, those people who have global tours booked every year, annually, without fail, like regularly scheduled programming, those are people who are serious about their business. Those guys who are consistently always, able to change their sound, their look, their style, but maintain their core fan base. A lot of that has to do with how they understand the business and how they understand the changing trends and things of that nature. So the talent is here. We agree that the talent is here, but
There's something missing that we don't know.
there's something part of the equation that still needs to be fine-tuned a little bit. And I'm looking forward to seeing what
cracks
comes out
it?
of
Nah,
it.
I'm sure as long as guys are working as hard as they are, someone is going to figure it
Nah,
out.
guys are cracking
They never
it.
know how the blueprint. Then there will be
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
10 guys from UG.
Yeah.
What?
Before we leave this Navio topic, on Twitter yesterday, there's a guy, I don't know if you guys saw that tweet, but there's a guy who said, don't abuse me. But, did you see that tweet? He said, don't abuse me. But, verse for verse, Keiko would cook Navio.
Wow.
Verse for verse, that Keiko would cook Navio.
What were the replies like?
Oh my God, bro. Well, firstly, surprisingly, a lot of people agreed. But me, on first reading, bro, blasphemy, man. That is a
I
blasphemy.
saw a picture of Keiko the other day. She's back in Kampala,
Oh, nice.
she is.
looking like
Yes.
looking like a young Biggie Smalls.
Like a young Biggie Smalls.
Yeah,
a young
Biggie
one.
Smalls.
I mean, that's better than she looked in the video that went viral.
No, she looks
a couple-
healthy.
Yeah,
She looks like
Yeah.
she's well fed.
that's a good thing.
She looks
That's
like
a
she's
good
healthy.
Yeah,
But
shout out
Keiko,
Keiko,
Verse for
verse
verse.
for verse,
But
like
I think
as
Just
in,
the
Well, verse for
amount
verse.
of
Yeah, they're not
quantity of
enough
verse,
verses.
bro. They're not enough good verses to go for
I was
verse
also
for
about to
verse,
say,
bro.
how many
No.
verses?
How many verses do? Is it
But
a limit?
Let's say like peak.
her top
Keiko.
5 versus
Yeah,
his
okay,
top
let's say
5.
let's say Keiko's top 5, Navio's top 5. You guys
no,
think she
no,
gets
no.
Like the fact they
No.
don't remember like that many Keko
Yo,
jams right
Navio
now.
got
off the
some
top of my
bars,
head.
yo. Navio got some bars. No.
What's
no,
Keko's top
I
jam?
think that might be a video of its own, bro. Like someone needs to get the best Keko verses, the best Navio verses, and they'll just go back and forth.
Which is
man.
Keko's number one top jam? That everyone remembers.
This is how we do it.
Yeah, that's what I was
the
That
one.
was Keko, eh?
That was
That's
Keko.
How we do it. This is how
That's
we
it.
Bro, I don't know, man. Like, first of all, it's just
Bro,
considering the number of
Navio's
songs.
fifth worst verse is better than Keko's.
That's
Hot stick time.
Like the verse that Navio had on like One and Only is better than any of Keko's verses.
But I'm really trying to remember Keko.
I feel like
verse now.
Navio and Keko have enough songs together to do a 5. Like we got
Oh
the
my God,
5
they've been
songs
in-
with
they've been in
Navio and
same songs
Keko on
before,
together
yeah.
and compare those verses. That would be a good.
Bro,
a
that's
good
still a wild
comparison.
take.
No,
Verse
that's
for
wild.
verse.
That's wild.
It's a crazy
No, that's
take.
Because,
Okay, don't
man,
abuse me.
Keiko has music. It just doesn't amount to 20 years of Navio. And so if you're picking the best 5
Best 5.
from his catalog,
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
it's a
tough one.
stretch.
It's a
Statistic
Did I abuse
is
him?
thinking.
Because I
No, bro. No one abused him, bro. So
That's the
many
thing,
guys were agreeing with
People
him.
agreed with that take.
So
I
many
mean,
guys were
hey,
agreeing with
you
him.
know.
I was like,
You
yo,
never
do I
know.
not know Keko's song?
Maybe that's what I feel like.
Maybe we
man.
don't know Keko's
Maybe I
song.
just have to go back and first listen.
Listen.
We'll come back
Yeah.
with this one.
Check-
Keiko
yeah,
had
check
a
back
nice
in.
flow, but like her, I don't like remember any songs overall being so outstanding that like there was a signature verse. I don't remember any signature verse.
Keko
She
had
has.
some shit though.
She had a good flow though.
I want to ask something. I don't know how true it is. I hear some people are saying that Keko is signed under Sony.
Sony?
And- Yes, Sony.
Is or was?
I think she
was.
was.
Maybe it was. Yeah.
And they're saying that there are allegations that Sony has that thing. It signs artists and then it sits on them. I don't know how true it is.
inside Sony.
I don't know. I think it's on an artist to artist basis, bro.
Yeah.
Like, if you're signing to a label that big, there's chances that you might not get priority, man. I remember even when Davido was signed to Sony, that's when he had his bad year and a half or so. But it
Yeah.
really depends, man. It really depends on who you are and what your team is doing, how you guys are moving. Yeah. But I don't know if I just
The
say
team
Yeah.
definitely matters.
I think
I'll
it's
give you
like
an
a
example.
case-to-case basis, yeah.
I'll give you an example. Do you remember that very first Young Z's song he dropped? Bro, do you know the way that thing was pushed by Swangs? It was all over. Like that song was playing in SA, it was playing in Kenya. They did work, and that was hip hop, straight hip hop. It was just rapping. So I think no. This is a different example. We're talking about like the label. So again, this goes back to the point we had before. I think it's just like a marketing thing.
Also,
And the team.
I think labels just be wanting to own like as much of the market as they can, bro.
Yeah.
So they'll
Because
just
at the end of the day, a record label's job is to provide you with the financing to produce an album that they can sell and make money off of.
Yeah.
Period. A
It's
lot of them
their
aren't
thing.
interested in artist development. A lot of them aren't interested in getting you from a point A to Z in terms of crafting your work ethic or all of the things that would make you now a star on their roster of artists. And I don't think that when somebody who is famous in this particular context here is Ugandan famous or East African famous, when somebody like that gets signed to Sony, I feel like there's a moment like I've made it. I'm good now. You know what I mean? Because I'm affiliated with Sony, there's a machine behind me that's going to unlock opportunities. And so I can kind of, and this is just me speculating, I can kind of take my foot off the gas a little bit. Because I've been working so hard, I've been grinding my face off to create this persona, this image, this brand, and now I've been recognized and Sony has recognized me and signed me. I've crossed the finish line. But literally your work is just starting. Because now you have to understand the competitive landscape of what they deem worthy of their dollars to promote.
Yeah. Like now you're competing against all their artists.
Yes. And mind you, these are rosters of artists that are hundreds deep. They can sign you, but not spend a dime on you. It won't cost them anything to sign you. Because it's once you start producing music and once you start spending their money like that, that it makes sense for them to now promote you. But if you're just in the studio and you're recording music and you're not coming with something that makes them feel like this is that thing that's going to make us money, you'll stay on the shelf. You can be there for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. I don't think any record label is in the business of signing artists just to shelve them. That's not a functioning business model that works. They're in it to make money. If you can make them money, you'll get there. But how they see you making them money probably comes through, like you said, with the team, with the management, with the producers that you have. Are you bringing everybody along with you and saying, I'm only interested in working with this core team of individuals that brought me here? Or are you willing to put yourself in their hands and be molded? I don't know. But I'm sure that there's a whole lot of complexity around that.
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to signing to a label. Pros and cons. Yeah, but I'll say this. As a young artist in 2023, man, like, you don't necessarily have to sign to a label to make it. You can actually use social media to show the label your value, so that by the time they approach you, by the time you approach them, you have some metrics.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, just look at it like that. Like, added value. Like, what value can you offer to them? If you'd like to listen to the full conversation, please consider subscribing to the Mob Jazz Podcast Patreon. Once you do, you'll have access to the full conversations as well as subscriber-only content. The Mob Jazz Podcast is made possible through our Patreons. If you like what we're doing here, please consider becoming one.